Morning to our madam, Noliana and my friends. Today our group will present about Bantuan Rakyat Satu Malaysia, or in English, One Malaysia People's Aid. Before that, I will introduce our members. For the first one,
BINTI dari NAYOB.
Ni SUSANNA AMAT, kami SHAHIRAH binti Makno.
Kami AHMAD HUSAINI dan MOHD ZAIDI. Okay. Now we proceed with vision of BR1M. Okay, actually, after I searched all the website about BR1M, they are no vision stated about the BR1M. So I can conclude that the vision the BR1M is to elevate the poverty rate towards in achieving vision 2020. Okay. The former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Sri Mahathir Mohamad introduced Wawasan 2020 or Vision 2020. Yes.
Itu apa Tun Sri?
Tun Sri Dr. Mahathir Mohamad.
Kalau dah
Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Just kidding. Okay. The former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad introduced Wawasan 2020 or Vision 2020 during the tabling of the 6th Malaysian Plan in 1991. Okay, there are 9 challenges that Malaysia must overcome in order to achieve Vision 2020. One of the challenges is ensuring an economically just society in which there is a fair and equitable distribution of the wealth of the nation. Therefore, BR1M is one of the government effort to make sure citizens out from the poverty, or at least decrease the poverty rate in the country. Okay, the next one, the mission. First one, to help Malaysians who are poor and cannot afford. Okay. BR1M, the purpose mission of the BR1M is to help Malaysian citizens who are in need for the financial aid and help who are in poor condition and to buy their basic needs or necessities. Okay, the second one is increase the living standards of the population. Even though the amount of the BR1M is not enough, just 350 for the single, and okay, but BR1M hopefully can support their financial for at least 1 year. Prime Minister said. Okay. Okay, BR1M also give the citizen increase the power of their purchasing, include to buy their basic needs such as clothes and food. Okay. Next, we proceed with the objective. The first one is to protect the people from the effects of rising cost of living. Each year, the cost of living is rising, with their income mostly stay on the same level. I mean, even though the cost is increasing every year, but most of the citizen income are still on the just increase little. Okay, therefore, we bring it will make the individual not really feel the impact of the increasing of the cost of the living. Okay, the second one is to help recipient and recipient family in the event of death or permanent disability due to accident. Okay, under BR1M, there are also insurance plan that called BR1M. BR1M is a insurance plan that benefits to protection of the recipient, households, BR1M category or families. Here, if the BR1M recipient is got the accident or pass away, they got the recipient will be paid in accordance with the extent of the injuries, such as there are several categories such as pass away, death, disability and accident. Okay, next the state orders. There are three. The first one is Bantuan Rakyat Satu Malaysia contribution borne entirely by the government of Malaysia and no fee supply. Second, beneficiaries under the Social Welfare Department, or in Malay we call Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat. The last one is those who are in the e-council list are automatically eligible to receive the One Malaysia People's Aid. Okay, next, go to it.
Next, I will explain the respective agency. This agency is collaborate with the program of BRIM. The first agency that collaborate is by consortium of takaful operators. This agency manage the insurance of citizens. So one of insurance is IBRIM. IBRIM is for all categories BRIM recipient household or family heads are eligible for coverage IBRIM. So for those who are single category and elderly alone is not entitled to IBRIM. So the benefits of IBRIM, the recipients of IBRIM will get the benefits if this recipient is involved in death not accidental, accidental death and permanent total disablement accident. And then the second agency that involved is the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance aims to manage the nation's finance and economy effectively, transparently and efficiently to achieve the nation's development goals. So in brief, the Ministry of Finance will involved in doing decision making and manage the budget according to the sources that the government receives every year, and the budget that allocate is for BRIM must be suitable with the annual budgets. Therefore, the citizen also know the flow of money and can avoid the inflation and stagflation. And the next respective agency is Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri, known as LHDN. LHDN act as an agent to provide services in assessing, administering, collecting and enforcing the payment of income tax and other tax that are under the board jurisdictions. LHDN also as a collection agent for on behalf of governments. So therefore, every tax or revenue that government receives is managed by LHDN, and BRIM is one of revenue from all taxes that paid by citizens. So the amount of BRIM that government allocate also depend on how much the tax government receive in a year. And then the issue that always as a hot topic among the citizens is first, the qualification of applicant is a become issue when system cannot detect the eligible citizen from get the BRIM. For example, the group of citizens that have income more than 4,000 ringgit apply for BRIM, and the application is unexpectedly successful. Next is the applicant of student that get BR1M voucher buku Satu Malaysia also can get the BRIM, where the requirement stated that the citizen that get income more than 4,000 and student that got BB1M cannot apply for the BRIM. Next issue is the applicant got payment of BRIM twice. This can be proved from berita harian that has been shown in April, where one of our recipients got the BRIM twice for the 300 ringgit 50. Okay. Next Next is the strength. Next, I will explain about the SWOT analysis, about the strength and weaknesses. The strength of BRIM is based on the financial strength. It comes from the tax governments, where the governments manage the financial with effectively and efficiently. So this makes it possible for the government to have more the financial strength of funding of BRIM. Next is management. Management is how the bodies of government manage the BRIM. For example, like the government tackled the issue of fraud when using BRIM voucher for BRIM 2012. So the Ministry of Finance improved when made improvement when implementing BRIM 2014. For example, like establish of a special unit at the Ministry of Finance. So this unit will focus on the issue letters of reminder the recipients who cash BRIM voucher more than once, and then this unit of finance also have a power to blacklist the recipient that got voucher twice. And then if recipient without bank accounts or who had failed to update their account also has been managed by these units, where recipient that do not have bank account can use the vouchers only approved by the anti-copy security features. Next, in order to enhance the management, governments use the another alternative, such as use the give the awareness among the public to open their bank accounts for channeling the cash and directly into their accounts. The third strength is law. This term of law is the government already improved of guidelines that given by Ministry of Finance. So the improvement of guidelines is give the impact to the continuous of BRIM until now. And government increase the security guidelines that created by bank. For example, increase the safety, like to ensure the citizen or recipient to open their the bank accounts, and then introduce anti-copy authorization letter so that citizens can avoid from the cases of fraud. Next is the weaknesses of BRIM. The weaknesses of BRIM is one is according to the technology. As we know that the issue what get the BRIM twice, or the citizen that not eligible also get the BRIMs. The technology cannot detect the applicant information, either the application is eligible or not. Next is manpower. The amount of staff or group that manage to manage recipient is not enough. So many recipients who have cashed out BRIM money using voucher more than once. So the double cashing make the Malaysian government lost about RM3 million. Next is, the last one is research and development. As we know that BRIM help the view of citizens in order to increase the economics of growth. However, governments cannot forecast on what happen in the future if the vision of BRIM can be achieved or bring more disadvantage impact to the nation and citizens. If the objective or goals cannot be achieved, that means this program of BRIM only wasting time and money to do the program that cannot give awareness to the citizens. So, next.
Okay, next I will explain on the opportunities and the threats of BRIM. Okay, so here I will point out two opportunities of BRIM, which are political stability and increase the national income. So the provision of BRIM given by the government to the citizen had given the effect towards the political issue. The ruling government, which is Barisan Nasional, provides BRIM as a medium to give or to pay back what the citizen did, which is the citizen have voted for the government on the election. Okay. Our Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Najib Turaza, ensure that people will continue to get BRIM as long as the political stability is maintained, and BRIM is important to the government to maintain the loyalty of its voters. Okay, next, increase the national income. Bantuan Rakyat Satu Malaysia, BRIM is the vital element for nation's economic growth. The Prime Minister said that economic growth can help the government to implement the development programs and channel aid to the people and make the government able to administer the country well. Okay, the government had allocated 4.6 million for BRIM in 2014, which would advantage 7.9 million of citizens. This shows that when the income or revenue of country increase, the citizen will also get the benefit from it, and indirectly, BRIM will increase along with the increasing of nation's revenue. Next is the threats of BRIM, which are goods and services tax, GST, and the attitude and lack of awareness of the citizens. The implementation of GST since 1 April 2015 somehow gives a little impact to the purchasing power of the citizens, because this implementation of GST makes the necessities such as food being more expensive. When the prices are increased, BRIM may look inadequate for most citizens, and the amount of BRIM given might not help much in helping to ease the burden of citizens. And next, the next threat is attitude and lack of awareness. The purpose of BRIM is to ease the burden of citizens, but somehow people use BRIM for wrong purpose, and they intend to use it without reasonable plans, such as use the money given to buy useless things or wasteful spending. Lack of awareness among people in rural areas is also becoming a threat for BRIM, because people in rural areas such as orang asli somehow did not get the news about BRIM because of the lack of facilities such as radio and television that can give the information about BRIM. Although these people are the people that needed BRIM the most. Okay. So next is the elements of SWOT is strength plus opportunities, SO. By having internal strength and opportunities from the external environment, government can recruit effective management, which is by having audit for the aspect of monitoring the provision of BRIM. To make the management of BRIM becoming more effective, the Auditor's General Report has come up with the establishment of special unit at the Ministry of Finance to manage BRIM. Reminder letters are also issued to recipients who cash BRIM more than once, and also to directly credit the BRIM payment to the recipient's bank account. So next, strength plus threats, ST. The government need to allocate more budget in the future because GST has raised the price of goods and services. The increase of price of goods and services will increase the burden of people. And in order to ease their burden, the government need to allocate more budget to give more amount of PRIM to the citizen. So our Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak has mentioned that the amount of PRIM will be increased from 650 to 950 for household with monthly income of 3,000 and below, and for household with monthly income between 3,000 and 4,000. The amount of PRIM will increase from 450 to 750. Okay, the last one is Witnesses Plus Opportunities, WO, which is it can gain and maintain the supporters' loyalty. The PRIM can help the ruling government to gain and maintain the supporters' loyalty and also to maintain its reputation. Citizens will remain loyal to the government or to the ruling party because they have received the benefits of PRIM. Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said that PRIM is a conviction that would be continued by the government if it returns to power in the next general election, and PRIM will go on if people elect for Barisan Nasional. That's all from me.
Okay, now we move to the implementation of PRIM. As we know, the requirement to apply PRIM are Malaysian citizens and also 20 years old and above. PRIM started on the 2012, which is during the recent budget 2012. The government announced to give out a one-off cash payment of RM500 with an income of less than RM3,000 a month to the people. And this is the initiative undertaken by the Barisan Nasional Government to alleviate the burden of low-income earners in facing the rising of cost of living. And the PRIM is continued to in the 2014, which is the PRIM announced to be continued. The aid of RM650 for household will be given to the with income between RM3,000 to 4,000 a month. And in the budget 2015, Datuk Sri Najib has announced a grant of PRIM for the third time, and the payment of PRIM can be divided into two methods based on the household income and individual income. Okay, for the household, RM1,000 a month, giving increase from the RM650, which will be paid in stage to RM950, which will be paid in 3 times. And for household earning between RM3,000 to 4,000, the government will increase the value of it from 450 to the 750. Sorry, this mistake. And the third, the government also announced an increase in value of RM3,300 to RM350 to the single individual aged 20 years old or older and earning less than RM2,000 a month. Okay, now we move to the evaluation. Okay, the first the challenges. Okay, the first challenges that may be faced by the government is the possibility of fraud in the applications of PRIM. This is due to there is a voice question on the honesty of the applicant when the concept of declaration was used. This is due to the possibility of applicant receive income exceed RM3,000, such as rental houses also apply. Usually government will calculate the gross income if mixed with the other assets and salary income and more than RM3,000, he or she will not worthy to receive PRIM. And actually there are more than 50 agencies involved in the verification process to ensure that the information
received from the people is valid, and the main reason why they use the NHDN is because the system is comprehensive and contains all information of taxpayers. And the second is some people question the source funds for BRIM, especially when looking at the global economic situation is not favorable, somewhat affect the revenue economy. It is due to the global price fluctuations of goods due to weather factors, supplies, global economic crisis, including the suspensions of some food sources in the other country, thereby contributing to an increase in the cost of living of the people in this country. Then it needs action from the government in order to help people by using BRIM. Okay, the next challenges is whether the ministry is ready to face the scenario of public dissatisfaction raised by those who fail or refuse their applications. Actually, the government need to take appropriate action by giving people who is really poor and feasible to receive BRIM, and those who are eligible but not receiving financial aid BRIM, they need to appeal at the Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri. And the last is Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib has emphasis on political and economic transformation to help people through this transition process and the role of BRIM as the distribution mechanism. Okay, this is the last challenges. Najib see approach similar to that used to run staff his late father Tun Abdul Razak in the 1960s and early 1970s, where inflation hit the country. Najib Tun Razak also implement a program of economic transformation with the implementation of long-term development policy and to cover weaknesses, which introduce a short-term corrective action. Okay. Now we move to the recommendations while implementing BRIM. Okay, first is the government collaborate with more than 50 agencies involved in the verification process to ensure that the information provided is valid. The main reason why the government use LHDN because the system is comprehensive and contain all information of taxpayers. And for those who are cheating while apply BRIM, court action will be taken, and actually there are hard to fulfill the obligation while providing BRIM because there are various challenges, including negative response to the detention and the whole process to the distribution. Okay, the second recommendation is replace One Malaysia People Aids BRIM from cash payment to the coupons or voucher goods such as Food Nutrition Assistance Program (SNAP) in the United States. According to Ahmad Maslan, they reiterate that the government will blacklist BRIM receiver who cheat by claiming that they ate twice. He also said that so far only 1,806 from 6,776 recipients who require twice been repaid, and the balance will be blacklisted for help to come. Ahmad also explained that in order to avoid possible recurrence of the problem, it no longer voucher will be issued by crediting the payment directly to the account. Okay, the third recommendation is government need to increase the awareness among citizens about BRIM. Okay, this is due to there are some possibility that the applicant receive income exceed RM3,000 and claim the aid twice because it involves the civic and moral of the society in the country. Okay, we move to the last, which is conclusion. Okay, it can be concluded that BRIM or Bantuan Extermination Program devised by the Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Razak as part of government effort in order to ease burden of lower income group in Malaysia. And this is one of the initiatives by the Barisan National Government by listening to plight of the poor people, and this program has to devise to help the lower income group cushion the high cost living in Malaysia. That's all. Thank you.
before I proceed, is there any questions from members of the floor? Tolak. Kan biasanya kurang dan soalan tak kurang dalam macam tu ke? Tak saja soalan Pak Member, aku tak tanya.